This show is brought to you in part by viewers like you who joined a Patreon or become YouTube members. Thank you. And if you could, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content.
That's
Well,
totally what it is.
Well, that brings me to our second topic of the day. I'm on with Brad Ward from Browns Film Breakdown. Brad, what does your perfect offseason look like for this team? Because the one thing about this team, I think, or at least I feel, you do some of the right things in the offseason, this team could look completely different next year.
Yeah.
You know? And we could feel, we could be sitting here doing this same show November 14th, 2026, Brad, and saying, goodness gracious, doesn't last year feel like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
You know, but what do you think has to, what do you feel like, if you don't have anything specific, I think that's fine, but just like in general, what would you like to see? What direction would you like to see this offseason?
Well, so here's where I'm a little conflicted, and now in like I don't know the answer to this yet, and I haven't really landed specifically on this yet. But for me, like I said, Stefanski's cooked in my mind. Now, the scariest thing is the Haslam quotes. Like, does that mean he is in real life? I don't know. I don't know what Jimmy has in his mind, but I would like to think they're ready to move off of him and like you said, clean house on the offensive side of the ball. They just don't have a chance where they're at right now, and he's lost his fastball and whatever's going on there. It's just he's never been able to adapt back to where he was at one point. So I'm ready for that move. The question is like Andrew Berry. For me, like, is it possible that Jimmy says I'm done with Kevin, but I'm going to keep Andrew? I think it's possible.
I think that's likely.
You think it's likely?
Yeah.
I kind of do too.
Is that not part? And so do you want them to move on from both?
I'm not sold on it. As long as Kevin goes, I think that you could sell me on Andrew getting a chance without DePodesta around to do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Without the model of DePodesta hovering over what Andrew Berry's doing and having to, siphon everything through that, analytical model that was, in him and Haslam's ear for every major decision. Could you sell me on giving Andrew Berry another chance after coming off of this draft that he kind of, his best draft? Yeah, I mean, I think I could buy that. Because of what he brings with the cap and the situation. I mean, let's be real. The situation, he kind of has him over a barrel with the situation he has him in with the cap. Like, not a lot of guys are going to be able to come in and maintain status quo the way he has things planned out, like 5 years into the future. You know what I mean? Without doing damage financially to the roster that will actually render results on the field, like hold you back. You know what I mean? Like, no matter if you decide to bring in a football guy to make decisions and replace Andrew Berry, he's got to have a cap guy next to him for every decision he makes, because it's going to be financial ramifications of every trade you make, of dead cap rolling up on you because of the way that things are structured and the way, like the way that Berry has things played out into the future. Now, he knows his next steps and he knows what money he can work with. So he kind of makes the most sense to keep at this point, I think. Has his roster construction been great? No. I mean, trying to run this offensive line out there and think it works this year is proven to be a failure. He has his failures, but you have a really good defense too, that I think that you don't want to move off of your Grant Delpits, Denzel Wards, Myles Garrett's. I think you can try to turn it around while they're still relevant. And I think that is the ultimate goal, right? Is to make the offensive relevant fast enough that the guys that are guys on the defense are still here and ready to play and be this defense. So
I think you want to try to catch two windows here, right? You want to catch the back end of these guys, and then you want to catch the prime of like Mason Graham and everybody else, Carson Schlesinger, the new core of this defense here, right? Yeah, I would say I think because the alternative, if you fire Andrew Berry, is Jimmy Haslam doing the Jimmy Sexton coaching search sweepstakes, which has routinely gotten some of the most, not just failures, some of the most hilarious failures that we have ever seen. I would rather keep Andrew if you're going to get rid of Kevin, because I want fun quote, an adult in the room, right? I want a separation from Jimmy Haslam in football ops here, and I think that's the guy who can provide that for you. I do think it depends on where you put the blame on the Watson trade, right? But essentially, imagine that the Browns used 3 first-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, and 1 third-round pick on players that can't be active on game day. Okay. That is what they have used. That's essentially what has happened with Deshaun Watson. On top of spending $40 million a year on a player who, again, he's not helping you in any way. Like, with Derek Carr was a failure, he at least was able to start and provide value that way. Deshaun is so bad that they clearly don't want him to play again. Right. They would rather just wipe that one under the rug and say, "Oh shucks," and let's move on from it, right? So I can understand why the offense made some of the decisions that they made over the years with the roster construction, right? What matters to me is that they've used 6 of their 8 first and second round picks on defense. The defense is good. So wherever you're concentrating those picks, it's working. So, that's a better indication there for me. What I need to see is that they don't fall into any of the gimmicks with coaching this year.
Okay.
Explain. I think it's real easy to do something gimmicky this year. Mm-hmm. We're going to go and try to buy out, this ain't gonna happen, but try to buy out Ryan Day or something like that, or or we're gonna go and get John Gruden, or insert coach that was hot Belichick. When TVs were still square, right? Belichick, all this stuff here. They need to just get to fundamentals. And if that means hiring some guy who's been running the offense that we don't really know, that they felt like really rocked their interview process, then do that, right? Like the whole reason Andrew Berry's here is because he's going to be process oriented and not emotion oriented, and we've seen what those decisions have taken us. And we would rather have somebody I need to see it to be a process. It can't be let's hire the hottest name, or or not even the hottest name, because sometimes the hottest name might be the right guy, but it's let's hire a name because we can get a name here, right? Or let's go after something that'll make the Freddie Kitchens pick was to make the fans happy in 2019.
So do you have anybody in mind?
I do not love saying names when it comes to this, right? Because people fall in love with names when it comes to these
last night.
Yeah, because people fall in love with names, and then they get stuck on that name, and you could hire the year that we hired Hugh Jackson. Everybody fell in love with the name of Hugh Jackson. If they would have hired Sean McDermott that year, they would have been right. Yeah. But everybody would have been pissed. I'm trying to not fall into that trap of I like Eric Bieniemy. Remember, that was a big name around. Yeah. And it's you could go out and get him, and everybody's saying Eric Bieniemy, but we don't know. We don't know the process there. I want to have somebody in here who has demonstrated in their time, whether in their role, that they can identify talent and put that talent in a proper position to succeed, right? You could say a Clint Kubiak has done something like that over his time, where hey, his offenses are consistently better wherever he is, and he seems to get more out of the pieces that he has than what most people do. That's more or less what I want to see. I don't care what kind of personality they have. They wear face paint and bark at people. I don't give a fuck, right? If they're polo wearing, well reserved, well mannered dudes, don't care either, right? I don't think that's going to make the difference there. I think the skill set is.
We agree there. A lot of people are gonna say you're going to hear this a lot. It has to be leader of men, opposite of Stefanski, right? Like that's going to be the obvious pivot for most what people want.
Avoid the full
yeah.
pendulum swing, right?
Yes,
like just
exactly.
hire the person the process tells you to hire. Do not hire the person that you feel like would be a breath of fresh air for the like let's just hire the right person. It's a crazy concept, Brad. It's a crazy concept, but hiring the right person for the job for reasons that matter to what you don't want to hire somebody because he's a big name and he's not very collaborative in his process, and you're trying to have him work with Andrew Berry, who's super collaborative. So it's like you gotta get the hire that works.
Here's the next question in the dream off season. Okay. That's fine. I'm with you. So whatever they, Barry decides on, whether that be Kubiak or, I would listen to Kingsbury. I would listen to Brady. I would listen to any of these Flores, maybe. I don't know. He's got there's a bunch of names out there, right? Now, Halfley, Minter, all these guys are like the hot names right now. So you interview them, you find the guy that's the best fit, whatever it is. I would prefer an offensive guy just because I think that offensive, it's easier to attain offensive over, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like trying to retain guys. You're not going to lose your
over a
offensive
long
coordinator
period
if
of time when you don't have to keep replacing an OC every time you have success, right? So that's kind of just a philosophy that I believe in, though. But I would be fine though, whatever they land on. Now, if this happens, right, and they go offense, are you keeping Jim Schwartz around?
I think you can if the guy's not very experienced. I think you can make that justification there, right? Jim Schwartz, a former head coach, and if he's tangible with what you're trying to do here. Remember, like Andrew Berry was the one that was really involved in that hire. Right. Yeah. If we go back to what was said about that hire at the time. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's like the kid they keep is Jim Schwartz.
He can survive that. Yeah.
Because I think like as much as Jim Schwartz has had his issues with his defense, I've watched that man put together a defense that can win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Like I'm confident he can get the defense to a point if they're playing solid enough offensive football that they're going to be able to win with them. Right. The big question is Kevin right now. So
and I don't want to lose somebody like Tarver or those guys.
I will say, like, I'm not inherently opposed to a defensive person. Like,
no,
there's some defensive guys who have the eye, right? Or like guys who are kind of unconventional. Like Dan Campbell was a position coach, never really a coordinator, but he has a good eye, right, for this sort of thing, right? I think Mike Vrabel is somebody who I've always pointed out. Look at his offensive coordinator hires; they're always like future head coaches, like or Josh McDaniels, which was a layup for him. So there is like that part of it. Like, hey, have you demonstrated you're really good at identifying coaching talent? And maybe I'm okay with living with there being a little bit more turnover because you might be able to use that to stay ahead of the curve because you're not doing the same thing over and over again. So, I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. It could look a lot of different ways. It can sound a lot of different ways. The approach to it can be a lot of different ways. As long as the Browns are open to that and they're not doing one of these bullshit big money coaching searches where we're trying to get Chip Kelly, we're calling Nick Saban. If they're doing that gimmicky bullshit, I'm out. I'm like, we're not fixing anything. We're gonna mess this up and we're gonna trade for like Kyler Murray, right? Like we're gonna do all this stuff wrong. But if they stay away from the gimmicks and Twitter's furious because like, why haven't we brought this guy in on an interview? And it's like, you know what? Maybe we might be doing the right thing because it shouldn't be flashy. You're hiring somebody
be the right guy
to solve a very specific problem, which is the offense has gotten stale and predictable.
Yep.
That's all we're doing.
I'm with you.
The defense, if you need somebody to fix it, I don't really think like they're a great defense right now. They just have a shitty offense. And will the defense have some problems that will pop up when the team's better? Sure. But that's just shit you got to deal with. Like your team's going to have problems. You have to overcome it, right? You're not going to have a problemless team. I think that's part of it. We can fast forward to the last part of it. Are you at the point to where you're like, hey, we're going to have a top 5 pick quarterback?
Yes.
And have you been able to be familiar enough with any of these quarterbacks where you're excited about
I mean, I'm excited about it. Like, here's my thought. I think that Mendoza and Simpson, at least at this point, I don't really dive into their, film work until the NFL season is over. But obviously this year's a little bit different where you're paying more attention to that than you normally would, right? So I like both guys. And I think both will come out just because I think that, I know people keep saying Simpson will come back. I think that if he's going to be projected as like a top 5 pick, what do you have to gain by going back, I guess? You know what I mean? I think that the adults around him will convince him into that. So I think that Mendoza and Simpson will both come out. I think Sellers probably goes back, transfers to Miami or something like that. As far as the kid from Oregon, I'm not as high on him yet, although he's interesting to me. Like he can still, you know what I mean? Like I haven't dove in, and I'm not as familiar with his game as I am the other two. But all three are intriguing to me. If they would all come out, I would be very happy.
Yeah, me and Brad are going to continue our great conversation we're having. But before I continue, got to talk to you about my picks with Sleeper this weekend. All right, so it's that time where I do my picks for the week on Sleeper. Make sure you want to join the fun. You use promo code WORSTTAKE, get a 100% match on up to $100 when you use the promo code WORSTTAKE if you're in an eligible state. Now, my picks this week, we won last week. I'm a little confident, so I added an extra one in there just for the hell of it. Remember, when it comes to contests like this, always play them responsibly. What I think is going to happen this week, I think Lamar Jackson, they say his combined pass and rushing yards number 250. I think he'll get above that. Jerry Jeudy, I'm going with the anytime touchdown on Jerry Jeudy. I'm going with over 3.5 receptions for Jerry Jeudy. Dylan Gabriel, longest rush, 7.5. And Quincy Judkins over 2 receptions. Look, this was a tough week to come up with picks. I'm not even going to lie. Because I did not want to go with production picks because I'm not very confident in how this offense is going to look. So I tried to stick to picks that are more about, for the Browns at least, either like an individual moment, like a longest run, or things like how many times do you get a reception, right? I don't know how many yards these receptions are going to go for, but I do think that will happen. And then I threw in the anytime touchdown there for Jeudy just because, it makes sense. They've been emphasizing him more and more into the offense. It makes sense for them to get him the ball again. And then Lamar Jackson, 250 yards total. I think Lamar's probably going to have a big day here. I just don't anticipate the Browns offense to be able to keep Lamar off the field long enough to where it starts to not matter. Well, where him getting like all these extra swings at it isn't going to start mattering. So that's my picks. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But if you want to join the fun, make sure you join Sleeper and use my promo code WORSTTAKE to get a 100% match on up to $100. That's where I have 3 basic things that I really want them to hit this offseason. I'll evolve it as time goes on. New coach new coach, new direction offensively. It can't be, oh man, we're gonna promote Jim Schwartz and bring back Alex Van Pelt. I will strangle somebody, right? We just saw what Drake May looks like without Alex
Drew
Van Pelt.
Petzing or something.
Yeah, right? Drew Petzinger. Like we got to move on. We just got to let it go. It did not work with Kevin, and I'm willing to accept at this point, hey, Kevin might be good somewhere else after he gets like a couple years off, because I think we broke him. I truly think
I do too.
Broke him.
I have no doubt he'll find success somewhere.
he needs his sabbatical. He needs his 1 year like Mike Vrabel did, being somebody's like assistant, and then he'll be fine. And I think that'd be good for Kevin, and I think we can both benefit from it because we're just both at that point. It's crazy how him and Baker are probably going out the same exact way. But it's also what? New coach, new direction offensively. Let's get that quarterback if we are in position to take, especially Simpson or Mendoza. And 3 of your top 4 picks in this draft must be used on offense.
Have to.
Absolutely.
Wide receiver, offensive line.
I'll give you one best player available. Hey, dog, we can't pass this up. Okay. I'll give you that. The other 3, we need wide receivers. I prefer 2. Just like last year, I said running back, get 2. Wide receivers, quarterbacks, offensive line. I don't think this is going to be a tackle class. You're probably going to have to fix the offensive line over multiple years. But you can get some guards here. Let's
supplement with free agency on the offensive line.
Use that insurance money to finally get back some of what you've been losing with Watson. Because when you really think about it like that, could you imagine what kind of damage it would do if a team just for 3 years straight drafted straight bust, like inactive players? That's essentially what the Browns did with those first round picks.
Did.
And that's going to be it's amazing the defense has been able to be as replenished as it is.
They've been hitting on UDFAs and left. I mean, they've been good, And
I think that's the credit to the development on the defensive side of the ball, the coaching there. And I think that's the biggest flaw here with Kevin. We should be at the point to where the wide receiver shouldn't be the worst room in the NFL, because you should have been able to develop Jamari Thrash into something, right? Like, you should have been able to use some of these third-round picks. Man, I'm not saying be the best, but they should be serviceable. And if they're at the point where you're like, I ain't got the horses, I can't run my offense, that's an indictment on you, right? You asked for these guys. You know what I mean? Like, Andrew's going to get guys that you want. So that's really that there. Fun conversation.
Tillman should be much further along than he is right now.
Fun conversation, Brad. It didn't mean to irritate you when I had to do the devil's advocate thing for Dylan King.
No, man, you didn't irritate me, man. We've done this dance a lot of times. It's all good, brother. I'm with you, though, on this rebuild thing, and that's it's possible. It's like, Jake always calls it the parlay, right? There's legs of a parlay you got to hit here if you're the Browns, but you got to hit them all. But it's possible. So.
Oh, yeah. They hit a similar parlay this offseason with, like, some of the shit that they avoided having to do with, like, the Miles trade and, how did you handle those draft picks? So, if they can continue whatever that process was that got them this, because I thought last offseason was very successful for them. You continue that on, I think you'll finally get to the point where you start to see that translate into on-field success, because you add some pieces here, and then all of a sudden you'll remember, like, okay, well, when Jerry Jeudy's in this role, he's not that bad. He's actually pretty good. And then when David Njoku and you got Harold Faden and Quincy Judkins, you get a guard that can kick some ass. He's going to look really, really good there. And then all of a sudden you get a quarterback there, and it's like, hey, things are going to come along a lot faster than you would think here, especially when you have the kind of defense that could give a floor to a team with a reasonable offense out there if the Browns could just get to that point. But appreciate you for being on, Brad. Y'all have a great day.
Always
have
fun.
An even better night.
Always fun.
Yes, absolutely. Always fun, but you have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.